Andre Ward won by Low-Blow TKO? What? Sergey Kovalev deserved a standing 8 count? Huh? Let's discuss. My brief analysis and feedback on the fight between Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev. It was a pretty good fight, to be honest. From what I observed, I noticed that Kovalev, he did start off fast, pretty similar to how he started off in the first fight. But he had a little bit more energy, and it looked like he was trying to really put Andre Ward away in the beginning of the fight. Because he might have assumed that Andre Ward would have been more vulnerable then and would have started slow. But as we all observed, Andre Ward had a pretty good start. He came out pretty aggressive. He didn't let Kovalev really take control in the same way he did in the first fight. And to be honest, like a lot of the commentators were saying, even though Sergey Kovalev might have been winning rounds, from the beginning, it looked like he was kind of losing the fight itself. So what that means is, in my opinion, that Sergey, just based on his activity and just the amount of punches he was throwing, it could lead you to believe that, okay, well, he's just winning rounds just on the strength of, being busy. But Andre Ward, on his end, he was really letting the better shots and really getting the better of Kovalev when it came to, of course, the inside work and the sustained body attack. So beyond that, I would say, as an observer, if I wasn't, let's say, scoring the round and really paying attention to the shots landed, I would somewhat say that Kovalev might have been winning the beginning half of the fight, similar to the first fight, without any knockdowns or any major punches being landed. As the fight continued, of course, you could see that Kovalev was clearly slowing down, and Andre Ward, he didn't necessarily pick up the pace, but he had a good sustained attack where from the beginning to the end of the fight, his output and energy pretty much remained the same. His defense was a lot better. His mobility was a lot better. He was landing good combinations in the clinch. He was getting the better of the clinch. He was more defensive-minded in the sense that he wasn't getting caught anything simple. Kovalev, or serious anyway, but Kovalev, his jab was pretty effective, just like it was in the first fight. His jab, just based on his arm length and him being the bigger fighter, was really all I can say that gave Andre Ward trouble throughout the fight. I thought maybe in the second fight he would adapt better and kind of avoid the jab a little bit more or slip it better, but in my opinion he kind of did, but he kind of did it because, as I stated before, the jab was Kovalev's most effective punch. When it came to the final round, which was round 9, that round started off pretty okay, nothing too major. Andre Ward did start to take control, and then he landed that massive right hand that had Kovalev kind of out of it. But before then, what I did notice is like Kovalev was doing a lot of complaining when it came to alleged low blows. From what I saw, especially with the replays, a lot of those shots were on the belt line. But again, I felt like he made the moves and kind of gave the judge, the thought that, okay, well, the punches were low. But again, Tony Weeks, the ref, he didn't really do anything. He didn't indicate they were low. He let them keep fighting. So I think, like, when it came to like people watching, the fans and spectators, the fact that he was complaining a lot, it kind of brainwashed people into thinking, okay, Andre's going low. And that's one thing I didn't like, especially after the fight. What I was reading is a lot of commentary, like calling Ward a cheater, and this is the only way he could have won. When you look at the fight, I mean, even beyond this fight or before this fight, it's like Andre Ward is not known as a dirty fighter ever. I've never heard any kind of speculations or indication that he's done anything dirty or that he's a dirty fighter. But again, people were running with their narrative like this is the only way he could win the fight was to be dirty, and which is funny because in the first fight he didn't do anything that was even close to being dirty, and he won that fight. And in this particular case, they're like, oh, he's a dirty fighter. Oh, all sorts of different, speculations and memes kind of demeaning and degrading Andre Ward as if he's a bad guy. But, in my opinion, I mean, he did, throw some consecutive body shots, but they kind of they're kind of downplaying the fact that before any of those major body shots were landed, that right hand that had Kovalev, kind of buckled, it didn't even happen. So, in my opinion, it makes absolutely no sense for Ward to just start being dirty to end the fight when he clearly had the advantage leading up to that point. Just to go back on that round, he landed that big right hand. From that point on, Kovalev put up zero offense. He didn't do anything. It was like he had no idea what to do. He didn't try to clinch properly. He was pretty much in retreat mode. So again, as a lot of smart boxing trainers train their fighters to do, is whenever you hear somebody to the head, the natural instinct is to be more defensive, move their head, protect their head, then you go to the body. And that's what Andre Ward did. He went to the body, he hurt him to the body, and then he threw, towards the end of the fight, 3 consecutive body shots. Again, a lot of people were upset that, it was multiple low blows. And I mean, again, Andre Ward is not a dirty fighter. And if he sees the end of a fight drawing near, why would he purposely foul to end the fight? That makes no sense. But again, people were kind of brainwashed into thinking, because Kovalev did a whole bunch of complaining earlier in the fight about low blows, and when they showed the replays, they weren't low blows, that, they already had it in their mind that anything that Ward did that was considered body blows, whether it was on the belt line or a little bit below or whatever the case may be, that automatically is dirty. And another thing that, of course, a lot of people are pointing out in other YouTube videos and interviews is that Kovalev trunks were extremely high. The belt line was above the belly button. You couldn't see his belly button. And even when you look at the replay, I think when it was the 3 consecutive shots, the first shot he threw, I don't think there was a clear replay to really determine the placement of the punch. I believe there was a replay for the second punch, and it was right on the belt line. The third punch was a little bit below I would say a few inches below the belt line, but the way the trunks were set, it wasn't a low blow in terms of hitting him in the groin or anything. It was pretty much a shot to the midsection. Again, it's just the fact that, everybody is running with that, it was below the belt. It was below the belt line, but the belt line was so high up that it would, of course, technically you could say it's a low blow based on the fact that the punch was below the line. But if the belt line is, high above his belly button and he's crouching over, it's kind of hard to place a perfect body shot in that case anyway. And of course, the placement of the shot is going to look a little bit suspect. But again, if you really examine the anatomy of the body, and if you look at kind of how the punch was thrown and where the punch landed in the replay of the final shot, it wasn't low in the sense that it hit his cup or was in the groin area. It was still right in the midsection. So again, like I said, they're running with the technical narrative that, it was below the belt, or hit him on the U of the Low-Blow logo on his trunks. And yeah, it did, but at the same time, it wasn't a groin shot. So it's just, a scapegoat and excuse for people who hate Ward to find a reason to discredit the win. And what was even more funny to me is that when Max Kellerman was interviewing Kovalev was kind of lost for words. He didn't say a word. He was kind of like trying to find the words to say. He was a little stuttery. And then it wasn't until they showed the replay of the final shot, and Max kind of mentioned, the shot might have been low. That's when you notice Kovalev get a little bit more animated and repeat, low blow, low blow. Like he was so adamant about it when he saw the replay. But before the replay showed, he didn't even mention a low blow. He just sat there, shocked at what happened. He was saying he could have continued and stuff like that. But again, he didn't get animated about the situation regarding the low blow until he saw the replay. So it was, to me, like he didn't even realize that it could have been even seen as a low blow until prompted to do so. So that was one thing about it. So it was kind of, I don't know if anyone else caught that during the interview, but I noticed how his whole attitude changed after the replay. But it is what it is. Now there's all this protest and talk about, filing a complaint about Tony Weeks and the decision to stop the fight. And one other thing I heard a lot of people, especially those who are not really too heavily into the boxing community, such as Stephen A. Smith, say is that in a fight of that magnitude in that situation, Tony Weeks should have given Kovalev a standing 8 count. And to be honest, I know my channel's called Standing 8 Count, but to be truthful, when's the last time you've seen a standing 8 count in a boxing match, whether it's a championship fight or any other fight? I really can't recall the last time I saw a standing 8 count, granted. And again, in a situation with Kovalev and many other fighters, if one fighter lands a great shot and it continues to throw a barrage of punches, and the opposing fighter's not putting up any real defense, not putting up any real offense, they just kind of like trying to protect themselves, crouch down, turn away, escape the barrage. 10 times out of 10, the ref's going to stop the fight and call it a TKO. In this particular case, again, Kovalev did nothing. He retreated, didn't throw a punch, didn't clinch properly. He didn't do anything to stop Andre Ward from continuing his assault. And after that last shot landed, he took a seat on the rope. Again, a smart fighter who understands what to do when they're hurt, they would have taken a knee and then he would have got an 8 count. In this case, you sat on the rope. It's confusing to a fighter, it's confusing to a ref. So, if anything, it's all Kovalev's fault. He should have handled it better. So even if it was really a low blow, he didn't really react in the sense that most people would do if they got hit with a punch that hard in the groin. They would usually quickly drop to the ground and kind of really show a level of pain where, it was a big deal. But the way he reacted, it seems to me like it was a pretty precise body shot. He did grimace and then he took a seat on the rope. He didn't react like a sharp punch landed low and then it was like an instant reaction to where you kind of drop down in pain. He didn't do that. He reacted like a typical person would react if they get hit with a body shot. So all this stuff again about, he deserved an 8 count as a champion. The main thing is he was no longer a champion. He was a former champion, and you can kind of talk about the fact that it was a championship fight, but a champion doesn't get preferential treatment when it comes to judges, when it comes to getting certain calls by a ref. So again, I don't recall the last time I've seen a standing 8 count. If anyone has, let me know in the comments, but from my point of view, it was a rightful stoppage. I don't see them overturning the decision. I think it was reported that the commission said that what Tony Weeks did in his decision was justified. So I guess that's that. In terms of where Ward goes from here, I'm sure he's going to take a little break because he had 2 training camps and had 2 tough fights against pretty much the top light heavyweight in the division. Of course, Adonis Stevenson called him out. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. I'd love to see that fight, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot of politics and stuff that's going to happen that may stall that fight out to the point where it may not happen. Andre Ward made comments about going up to cruiserweight potentially and even heavyweight. When it comes to Sergey, I think he should take a break. Maybe take more of like a light touch fight to kind of build his confidence and kind of see where he is mentally, because again, he's a Krusher. He got crushed by SOG, and he just needs to kind of, like I said, take a fight where he can, maybe get a couple rounds in before finish, just to kind of, like I said, rebuild his confidence and see if maybe he'll then take a tougher fight and maybe eventually get a rematch. I'm not sure if that'll happen again. I don't know if Ward will be still a light heavyweight at the time that maybe they want to consider a rematch. You never know, but we'll see. Boxing this year be pretty good. I'm looking forward to the next fight upcoming with Canelo and Triple G. But as it stands now, in my opinion, Andre Ward is the #1 fighter in the world pound for pound. It can't be disputed. I know people, again, when it comes to social media and the standard Andre Ward haters, are gonna discredit this win and say things that would deem him not worthy of pound for pound. But again, a win is a win. He got back-to-back wins over Sergey Kovalev, one a close unanimous decision, and the other one was a TKO in the 9th round. So it is what it is. Let you guys let me know what you think. I know this review is a little late, but better late than never. This is D and the Standing 8 Count channel. You guys have a great week.